Only a small metal object was left behind. Floating dot, it was a Terran medallion, black and silver. On it was engraved a single word, patient. And that's when fear truly spread, not because humans were attacking, but because they hadn't said a word. Asterisk across the galaxy. The silence had changed. Dot, it wasn't peaceful anymore. Dot, it was heavy. Waiting. Watching. Even. The bravest captains refused to cross near Earth's space. Merchants rerouted their trade lanes. Explorers turned back from uncharted zones if they saw even a shadow of a human ship. The Council tried to act strong, but behind closed doors, fear grew. "This is madness," whispered the soft-skinned minister. "They're not even making demands. They just disappear people." "They've declared no war," another said. "Yet systems vanish." The elder's voice was cold. "Because humans don't speak twice." Gorak stood at the head of the table, eyes blazing. "They think they can scare us into surrender. They forgot what true power looks like." He opened a holomap. "Their fleet is still sitting, quiet. No movement beyond their region. That means they're bluffing." Afraid, the elder raised a thin brow. "Or they're giving us a final chance." Gorak snarled. "Then let's end it." He slammed a claw onto the table. "Tomorrow, I send a strike fleet near Earth's edge. Just close enough to remind them who rules this galaxy." The elder didn't argue. He simply said, "Then I hope your kind has already said goodbye." Far away, in the black of space, the Terran Black Fleet had gone completely still. No chatter. No signals. Only soft blue lights glowing inside the warship's dot, and in the command room of the Silent Storm. Commander Ray stood before her crew. "The enemy is moving," she said. "Do we engage?" Asked the weapons officer. Ray shook her head. "We wait. One more time. One last chance." Meanwhile, Nolan was back on Earth. He stood in a field under a quiet sky. Children were laughing nearby. Running through the grass. An old man approached him. Gray beard, wise eyes. He was a former general. "Did they listen?" The man asked. "No," Nolan replied. "Did you give them time?" Nolan nodded. "More than they deserved." The old man looked at the sky. "Then we don't wait anymore." The next day, Gorak's strike fleet entered neutral space near Earth's borders. 50 warships. Armed. Ready. Proud. They sent one message. "We are watching. You are surrounded. Speak now, or be forgotten." There was no reply. They laughed. For 3 hours, they floated. Their. Then one of their ships disappeared. Just blinked out. No explosion. No alert. Panic rose. Scanners turned in all directions. Then another vanished. And another. Within 10 minutes. 10 ships were gone. No heat. No weapons detected. Just emptiness where ships had been. The rest of the fleet tried to retreat. They were already too late. A voice came across all channels. Not loud. Not angry. Just calm. "We asked for peace. You chose pride." Then the sky opened. Black shapes moved. Faster than light. Sharper than thought. And in 2 minutes, the entire strike fleet vanished. No survivors. Only silence. Later that night, on Council World, an emergency meeting was called. Everyone was shouting, fighting, demanding answers. Who fired? Where's the evidence? Was it really Earth? The elder walked in slowly. He said nothing until they all turned to him. Then he spoke. "They warned us." Someone screamed, "We must respond." "With what?" The elder asked. "They didn't attack with missiles. They attacked with silence, with precision, with patience." The room fell quiet. Then he added, "There will be no more warnings." Back on Earth, Nolan stood in the same field. This time, no children laughed. They were being moved underground, just in case. He looked up at the stars. "They wanted to see what happens when we get angry," he whispered. Now they will. And the fire had only just begun. Asterisk. The Galactic Council sat frozen. The attack fleet was gone. No distress signals, no bodies, no answers. Just gone. It was the first full military group the Council had lost in over 100 years. No war had been declared. No battle had been broadcast. And yet Earth had answered. Not with speeches, not with noise, but with silence and precision. The council chambers had changed. The air, once filled with pride and loud debate, now felt like cold stone. Even Gorak had stopped speaking. Now, only whispers remained. They were erased. Someone muttered, "No wreckage, no trails." Even their backups were wiped. No logs survived. The elder sat quietly, then said, "We mocked them. We ignored their patience. And now the fire has started. Across the stars, strange things began to happen. On the trade world of Valorous, every weapon system shut down for 3 hours. Without warning, every security robot walked into the sea. Power grids failed. No one died, but panic spread like fire. On the moon of Genna 3, a major council military lab was breached. No one heard gunfire. But every file, every secret project, and every war plan, gone, deleted. A black coin was left in the command chair. One side read, "We waited." The other, "You chose?" Commander Ray watched from her ship, orbiting just outside council-controlled space. Her second officer asked, "Should we take more systems?" Ray stared at the screen. "No," she said, "we don't take. We show." "Show what?" Ray answered without emotion. "What happens when Earth stops being polite?" Nolan returned to the outer colonies. Wherever he went, systems opened, borders unlocked. Not out of respect, but fear. On one peaceful planet, the governor met him at the spaceport. "We support Earth," she said, her voice trembling. "We've always respected humanity." Nolan didn't smile. "You laughed when we offered peace," he said. The governor fell silent. "We don't need your fear," Nolan continued. "But you will remember what it cost you to push us." Meanwhile, secret council forces prepared a retaliation plan, Operation Hammerlight. The plan was to strike a Terran mining moon, quietly. A message. One team. One shuttle. No witnesses. They landed at night. But when they entered the mining facility, it was empty. Too empty. And then, from the shadows, came a voice. "This was your plan?" One human stepped out. No armor. No gun. Just calm eyes. "You came to scare us?" He asked. One soldier aimed his weapon, but the human simply said, "Wrong. Choice." The lights shut off. Doors sealed. No shots fired. No one returned. The council lost another dozen soldiers that day, and gained another 1,000. Nightmares. The galaxy began to change. Planets that once mocked Earth sent sudden gifts, ships, resources, even apologies. Smaller empires started calling. Earth not Deathworlders, but guardians. Some even begged to join Earth's protection zone, because now Earth was not a planet. It was a storm. A storm with no noise. A storm that smiled. Until pushed. Back in Nolan's home base, he stood before a wall covered in names. Civilians, soldiers, and explorers who had died during the council's insults. Touched one name gently. A young girl who had died when a science vessel was attacked. He whispered. They thought calm was weakness. Behind him, a general approached. The council sent a message. The general said, "They want peace talks." Nolan didn't turn. "Too late," he replied. "Now they don't get words." He turned slowly. "Now they get consequences." And across the stars, as fleets shifted and systems trembled, every species asked the same question. What happens when a calm human gets angry? They were about to find out. Asterisk? The Galactic Council Hall was one of the grandest places in the stars. Its tall silver walls reached up like spires of ice, and its floor reflected like water. Dozens of alien leaders sat in curved chairs, their eyes fixed on the center of the room. There stood a single human, tall, quiet, alone. His name was Nolan, and he was Earth's ambassador. He wore no armor, carried no weapons, and did not bring a fleet. Just a plain black suit, a small translator on his collar, and calm eyes that never blinked under pressure. "I stand here not with threats," Nolan began, his voice steady and deep, "but with hope. Earth comes in peace. We only want to be equals." A cold silence followed. Then laughter, sharp, mocking, echoed across the room. It came from Gorak, a large reptilian leader with golden scales. His voice hissed like steam. "Peace? From humans?" Gorak sneered. "Your people eat fire, live on poison, and grow up fighting wild beasts. You are not diplomats. You are a—" "Warning!" More laughter joined his. An insectoid speaker buzzed. "Maybe Earth should teach us peace? After they finish wrestling their own animals?" Nolan didn't move. He just looked around the chamber, slowly. His face was calm. Too calm. "We did not come here to be insulted," he said quietly. "We came here because we believe peace is worth trying." "Or maybe," said another council member with glassy skin, "you came here to scare us. Send one man to stand. Among empires? What kind of game is this?" Nolan's voice didn't rise. "This is no game. But you forget what humans are. We offer peace, yes. But if peace is broken, we remember." The oldest of the council, a pale, thin creature with no mouth and glowing eyes, finally spoke for the first time. "And if war comes?" Nolan looked directly at the elder. For the first time, his voice held something different. A quiet edge. "Then Earth won't speak anymore." The room went still. Outside the chamber, no one saw the Terran stealth ship in high orbit. It was hidden behind a moon, completely silent. But its weapons were hot. Its sensors were watching. Every heartbeat in the room had been mapped. Nolan stood alone. But Earth was never far. "You stand in this council," Gorak growled, "like a child pretending to be a god. But your world is nothing. Just a death world filled with loud mouths and lucky beasts." Nolan looked at him calmly. "You're right," Gorak blinked. "What?" "You're right," Nolan repeated. "Earth is a death world. And humans? We are survivors. That's the difference." He took a slow step forward. Not threatening, just confident. "You live long lives, safe and protected. But humans? We are born fighting gravity. We run before we walk. We bleed before we learn. We suffer before we speak." He looked around again. "You laugh at our calm. You think it means weakness. But calm is a choice. One we make, again, because the alternative is worse." The elder leaned forward. "And what is that alternative?" Nolan's face was still. "You don't want to know." A whisper moved through the room. For the first time, no one laughed. He turned to leave. "You've been warned," Gorak spat behind him. "Don't come back." Nolan stopped just before the doorway. Without turning, he answered softly, "You'll call for us one day. Not for peace, not for talk, but because something is burning. And you'll realize too late who you pushed. Too far." Then he walked out. The doors closed behind him. And for the first time in years, the Galactic Council felt something strange. Fear. They had just met a calm human. And they didn't know. That calm had limits. Nolan stepped onto the landing platform, the cold wind brushing across his face. His shuttle stood waiting. Its sleek black surface reflected the stars above. The guards at the gate didn't speak. They simply opened the path and stepped aside. He walked calmly. But inside his chest, something was changing. They didn't listen. They didn't understand. And soon, they were dot high above the council world. Hidden behind its shattered moon, a Terran ship hovered like a ghost. Its name was Silent Storm, a black-class stealth ship with enough firepower to erase the entire planet in minutes. Inside it, Commander Ray watched Nolan's vitals on her screen. Heart rate elevated, she said quietly. He's holding it together, but he's burning. Her second officer looked at the monitor. What's the order if the council attacks? Ray didn't blink. No attacks, no threats. Not unless Nolan gives the code. And if he does? She turned toward the dark stars outside. Then we show them what happens when a calm human stops being calm. Back on the surface, the Galactic Council met again, this time behind closed doors. What do we do with Earth? One asked. They're too bold. They're bluffing, said Gorek. That human came without a fleet. They have no power. Here, the glass-skinned member tapped a hologram showing Earth's known systems. We should strike now, before they grow. The elder, who had stayed silent since Nolan left, finally spoke. If we strike, he said, they will not forgive. And they will not forget. But they're just one world. Someone shouted. The elder's eyes glowed brighter. One world, he whispered, that has never needed help from anyone, and has never asked for mercy. A quiet settled in the room. Meanwhile, Nolan sat inside his shuttle, staring at a small screen showing Earth's news. A birthday party. A field of flowers. Children playing in a city park. He sighed. The galaxy thought humans were made of steel and rage. But that wasn't the full truth. Humans fought because they had something worth protecting. And when peace was broken, they didn't just get angry. They remembered. His hand hovered over a secure transmitter. One press. Just one. And Earth's black fleet would rise from the shadows. But Nolan didn't press it. Not yet. Instead, he opened a secure channel. A hologram appeared. Commander Ray. Status? She asked. Message delivered, Nolan replied. They laughed. Ray nodded. Expected. Do we prepare? Nolan looked out the window. The sky was two quiet. Double quotes. Yes. Prepare the fleet. Don't launch, just wait. But if I call again, no warnings. Ray's expression didn't change. Understood. In a distant sector, far from the Council's sight, Fleet Delta was already waking up. Thousands of Terran warships, sleeping giants, began warming engines. Shields hummed, railguns aligned, and stealth fields shimmered to life. Didn't move. Not yet. They waited. And Earth waited with them. Back in the Council world, something strange happened the next morning. A minor research outpost run by neutral species had gone silent. No damage, no alarms. Just gone. Vanished. Only one message was recovered before the silence. A whisper, almost broken. He warned us. The Council blamed pirates. Some said it was a wormhole collapse, but deep inside, they all feared. Something else. Something cold. Something human. Something angry. In the dark, among the stars. The spark had been lit. And the fire was just beginning. Asterisk in the outer sectors of the galactic rim, whispers had started. Not from governments. Not from fleets. From traders, miners, and scouts, the ones who saw things before anyone else. Something was happening in the deep void. Something quiet, but growing. Whole pirate groups vanished. Unknown signals swept through neutral zones. And in systems near Earth space, trade ships reported strange encounters, not with attackers, but with watchers. Dark ships, completely. Silent, sitting in orbit. No response, no movement. Just watching. And always human. On Council World, the ministers gathered again. The room was tense now. The Archon system went dark, said one. 3 outposts. No distress signal. No survivors. Earth? Someone asked. No proof, said the informant. But no other power would risk it. The room fell into silence. Gorak slammed a clawed fist on the table. We're letting them scare us with shadows. One man speaks calm threats, and now we jump at every quiet wind. The elder turned to him. Not shadows, warnings. Another counselor, with soft blue skin, whispered, Maybe we should call. Earth, speak again. Rebuild the bridge. Gorak stood, eyes glowing. We don't beg, not to Deathworlders. The elder's voice was cold, then prepare to burn, because calm humans only give one chance. On Earth's moon, Command Station Horizon received an encrypted ping dot. It came from Nolan. One word. Cracks. The message spread like lightning across secure Terran lines. Black Fleet Command updated all status codes. Stage 0. Passive. Stage 1. Observe. Stage 2. Standby. Stage 3. Ready. They had reached Stage 3. No words were spoken. Every crew aboard the black ships began silent preparations. Armor checks. Weapons aligned. Stealth fields refreshed. Thousands of Terran soldiers, trained in silence and speed, stared at glowing screens. They were not angry. Not yet, but the calm had started to break. Back aboard Nolan's ship, he stood in silence, looking over a new report. A civilian human science. Ship had been intercepted near the Graal border. No contact. No survivors. Just wreckage. Floating. He tapped the screen and read the names of the crew. Among them, a school teacher. 2 children. 1 nurse. His jaw clenched. That night, he called Commander Ray. They broke it, he said. Her eyes didn't. Blink. Authorization? Nolan nodded once. Code. Firetrace. She didn't need to ask more. The signal spread across the Terran network. Quiet. Controlled. But the stars began to move. 1 hour later, in a distant system near Council territory, a Graal military outpost picked up a strange signal. It wasn't a call or a threat, just a sound. A low hum, and the stars around them flickered, like something massive had moved between them and the light. The next moment, half their sensors went dark. And then came the message. You asked for calm. You broke it. By the time reinforcements arrived, the Graal outpost was gone. Not destroyed, just gone. No debris. No heat. No signs of war. Asterisk. The stars no longer felt safe. Not for the Galactic Council. Not for their allies. And especially not for their soldiers, because Earth still hadn't declared war. No fleets sent public attacks. No cities were bombed, yet planets were falling. One by one, without a single shot fired. In the Karner system, a weapons manufacturing planet suddenly lost all oxygen control. The backup systems didn't activate. One by one, factories shut down. No Terran ship in sight. A single drone arrived 3 hours later. It dropped a message capsule. Inside it was a coin, black and silver. On it were 4 words. You should have listened. On the political world of Xanath, 5 council governors vanished in one night. No alarms. No sounds. Security cams showed them walking out of their homes into the night. Alone. Then nothing. The next day, a message appeared. On every screen in the capital, a calm human voice said only this. You wanted silence. You laughed at calm. Now live in fear of both. Meanwhile, inside the Terran Black Fleet, Commander Ray stood before her officers. They're collapsing from the inside, said her intel officer. No wars, just confusion and fear. Ray nodded. That's the point. We're not sending fleets. We are, she said, but only shadows. No light. No noise. We're not here to destroy planets. She looked out the window, voice firm. We're here to destroy their pride. Nolan walked through the halls of Earth's central base. Now surrounded by diplomats from smaller star nations. They came with gifts, with apologies, with fear in their eyes. A blue-skinned ambassador bowed deeply. Earth has proven its strength. Nolan didn't answer. Another diplomat spoke. Please, what does humanity want? He looked at them for a moment, then said, We wanted peace. He walked away, leaving silence behind. Back on Council World, the leadership was breaking apart. Gorak, once loud and proud, now sat in shadows, silent. The Elder stood alone, watching the galaxy map flicker red. They don't talk, one minister whispered. They don't send demands. Another replied, They don't need to. The fear does the work. They're monsters. The Elder turned, his voice cold as winter. No, they were kind. They were calm. We made them monsters. In the deep void near the Sark Belt, a hidden Council weapons lab was preparing to launch a new superweapon. Before they could power it up, every light turned red. Doors sealed. Shields failed, and then a message appeared. Not written. Spoken. A call. Human voice. You used fear to rule. Now feel what it's like to be ruled by fear. Then everything shut off. When Council forces returned days later, the lab was empty. Not destroyed, just empty. Earth had no throne, no empire, no demand. For control, they didn't want land. They wanted respect, but when it wasn't given, they took something more powerful. Control through fear of the unknown. Back on Earth, Nolan stood beside Commander Ray, watching dozens of surrendered Council diplomats line up on screen. They're ready to talk. Ray said. Nolan didn't smile. No, they're ready to listen. He corrected. Above the stars, the Black Fleet stayed quiet. The ships didn't shine. They didn't roar, but their presence whispered one truth. Calm is a choice, but so is fire. The galaxy had changed, not through war, not through fire, but through silence. Earth had done something no one expected. They rewrote power without shouting, without marching armies across the stars, without speeches of domination. They had simply shown what happens when calm is broken. On Council World, the once mighty chamber now echoed with silence. Many chairs sat empty. Some members had fled. Some vanished. Those who remained looked tired, older. The Elder stood at the center, alone, watching a screen that showed every star system where Terran presence was now confirmed. More than 40 worlds had joined Earth's zone. Not by force. By choice. Because peace offered by fear was no peace at all. But peace offered by Earth? That was protection backed by something stronger than weapons. Discipline, memory, fury. A meeting was called. Quiet, urgent. We must respond, said the last loud voice. If we don't push back, we lose everything. But no one nodded. Not anymore. They tried peace, the Elder said. We spit on it, someone asked. So what do we do now? The Elder's eyes glowed faintly. We listen. Across the galaxy, on neutral stations, human ships were seen landing. No soldiers stepped out. No tanks. Just civilians, doctors, teachers, engineers. They brought food, medicine, power solutions, and still, no one spoke of revenge. No flags were planted, only the quiet presence of a species that had once warmed everyone, and had been ignored. In one broken colony, a child asked his father, Are the humans monsters? The father shook his head. No. He said, They're what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. On Earth, Nolan stood on a stage before a gathering of Terran representatives. Screens showed the galaxy outside, dotted with peace requests and alliance offers. The crowd was silent. He spoke calmly. Years ago, we asked to stand as equals. We were laughed at. He paused, We were calm, until we were not. A room listened. Closely. We didn't want war. We still don't. But if fear is the only language the stars understand, he looked around, then let them fear silence. Meanwhile, in deep space, the final operation of the Black Fleet was underway. Not a strike, not a takeover, but a gift dot in the capital sky of the Council world. Thousands looked up in fear, alarms already ringing. Something massive was approaching. Huge shadows cut across the moon's dot. Then they saw it. A Terran dreadnought. Silent. Still. Unarmed. No weapons aimed. No threats broadcast. It floated above them for 3 minutes. Then slowly released a giant beacon that lit up the sky with one message. We were never your enemies. But now, we are your mirror. Choose better. Or fall. Alone. Then the ship vanished without a sound. From that day forward, the galaxy called it the day the stars fell silent. No weapons had been fired, but the galaxy was never the same. In the following months, the Council was reformed. Earth didn't ask for power, but was given a seat no one dared touch. A place of silence, the Terran seat, empty most of the time. But when a human came to sit in it, the room always grew quiet, and if that human ever spoke, everyone listened. Back on Earth, Nolan visited a small garden. Children played. Flowers grew. He sat on a bench, watching the sun rise. Commander Ray walked over. It's done, she said softly. Nolan nodded. Peace? She smiled. This time, they chose it. He looked to the horizon. Let's hope, he whispered. They never make us choose again?